Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel if you're returning, and if you are, thank you. And I really appreciate that you're actually giving me the time of day. And if you're new, I'm Ashley. Welcome. This channel doesn't, I don't only focus on certain things. It's just my outlet. It can be about anything, everything, and nothing. So okay, today's video is going to be a deep one. As you can see in the title, I titled it I Am, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I understand that a lot of people are not going to agree. Even people in my life, my loved ones, not all of them necessarily agree with what I say, but we still talk about it. There's no judgment, there's no hate, it's just talking. And I'm gonna talk to you guys today. Also, me 5 years ago would never say things like this. If I were to hear a video with anyone saying the things that I'm about to say, I would, with my baby brains, I would just get offended, say they're going to hell and that it's blasphemy. Me 5 years ago. But I've grown, I gained a lot of knowledge, and my mind has changed a lot. And I think this is information that everyone should know. Like I said, you may not agree with me. Just know that I'm not making any of this stuff up. This is information you can find online. But it's just it's almost like it's hidden. Okay? And also, in this video, while I'm talking, you're going to realize that I don't think of Jesus in the same way as the majority do. I used to think of him that way, but like I said, a lot has changed. And just because my mindset on a lot of things change doesn't mean I consider the Bible to be completely bullshit now. No, it's deeper than the stories. Okay? So, I am, okay? Anything that's magnetic is considered feminine, and anything that's electric is considered masculine, okay? And I'm actually reading off my notes. I have a journal of all my notes. I also have notes in my phone. We're gonna get started talking about the brain. All right, so in your brain, in your cerebrum, is a claustrum. From the claustrum is the secretion. The secretion is basically this fluid. It's like an oil. That's what they call the fluid. They call it secretion. The oil comes from the cerebrum, and it is differentiated. I think I'm butchering that word, I'm sorry. But it's differentiated by the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. Alright, so I'm totally saying pituitary wrong. I'm saying pituitary or some nonsense. I'm meaning to say pituitary. This is not the first time I have to correct myself in this video, so I apologize. I'm only human. I say words wrong. Sorry. The pineal gland is electric. The pituitary gland is magnetic. Now, this oil that comes from the cerebrum, it flows down your spinal cord. aka spiritual cord. It basically goes all the way down past your 5 vertebrae bone, right? It's like it reaches your lower chakras. So the secretion, this oil, this fluid that's in your brain, in the ancient times, the Greeks called it Christos, which is Christ. Now, when you look up the word Jesus Christ, what does it mean? It means the anointed one. When you anoint somebody, you do it with oil. Now that word secretion, which is the actual, like the oil, the word secret comes from the word secretion, because the secretion is the secret. Now that holy claustrum in your brain, that's where Santa Claus comes from. Claustrum, Santa Claus, you know, he brings presents down the chimney. Are you seeing the similarity? Are you seeing the synchronicity? I hope you are. Now, once that oil flows all the way down, one is able to transmute that oil. We're actually able to get that oil to rise back up. But you need a lot of discipline, you need the right diet, you need to know thyself, pray a lot, which praying for me is not necessarily talking, asking for something. It's not even like saying thank you and giving thanks, because you can still put off that vibration and that frequency without even having to say anything. You can be thankful and grateful. When you meditate, you sit there. And to me, praying is listening, which is really hard for people to do nowadays. You know, they don't even hear their own intuition. It's hard for people to like look in, to go within. It's always about what can I get externally to fill me up inside. So that's just what I consider praying. If you don't have to agree, but that's just what I consider praying, is more listening. But yeah, so you're actually able to rise that oil, but like I said, it just takes a lot of discipline, which, you know, I'm not saying I'm even close to having that type of discipline. And it makes me want to do better, and I know that it's not gonna happen overnight. Some people even take years to even go completely vegan or to go plant-based. Like, you have to take your baby steps. You can't just change overnight. There's a lot I'm still learning. There's a lot that I have to unlearn. We are literally living in a huge programs filled with tons of small programs. So you also have to deprogram your mind, and be very aware. And it takes time, you know? And that's what I'm working on. Okay, so if you're able to get that oil to rise, well, as it's rising, it has a higher vibration. Alright, so as it's rising with the higher vibration, once it crosses the vagus nerve, it's not Vargas, it's vagus nerve. I thought I saw an R in my notes, so that's why I was pronouncing it that way. I just wanted to apologize ahead of time. I'm saying vagus nerve, but I mean vagus nerve, so yeah. This vagus nerve is connected to everything. It's literally connected. Yeah, so from the pineal and pituitary gland, connected is the vagus nerve, which is feeding the lungs, the stomach, your heart, your spleen, your kidneys, liver, your small intestines, and colon. It's a network of nerves. So these like, you can consider your brain and your head to be the roots and the branches that connects to all of the organs in your body. This is your tree of life. So once that oil crosses the vagus nerve, that is called the crucifixion. And remember, Jesus Christ died at age 33. Okay? So when that oil Christos rises and crosses the vagus nerve, it's literally right after it passes the 33 vertebrae of your spinal column. At crucifixion, when the oil is crucified, it is not killed, it is literally magnified 1,000-fold. Then the oil touches the optic thalamus in your brain, and for 2.5 days the person is considered dead. In that 2.5 days, that oil basically lights up the optic thalamus and the pineal gland. It literally lights up, it glows. The optic thalamus was also known as the light of the world by the Egyptians and the Greeks. They called that the light of the world. Think about that, the light of the world. When you're able to get this oil to rise, and once it lights up, your optic thalamus and your pineal gland lights up, it literally regenerates your body. Your body will start to make new blood. Life is in the blood. Your dormant brain cells will then become regenerated, reactivated. You'll live longer. And look, even though I think of things differently, I think of Jesus differently, I think of the Bible differently, doesn't mean, like I said, it's not complete bullshit. But to me, the stories are allegories of the anatomy, physiology, and the cosmos.
First of all, the birth sequence is completely astrological. The star in the east is Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, which, on December 24th, aligns with the 3 brightest stars in Orion's belt. These 3 bright stars in Orion's belt are called today what they were called in ancient times, the 3 kings. And the 3 kings and the brightest star, Sirius, all point to the place of the sunrise on December 25th. This is why the 3 kings follow the star in the east, in order to locate the sunrise, the birth of the sun. The Virgin Mary is the constellation Virgo, also known as Virgo the Virgin. Virgo in Latin means virgin. Virgo is also referred to as the house of bread, and the representation of Virgo is a virgin holding a sheaf of wheat. This house of bread and its symbol of wheat represents August and September, the time of harvest. In turn, Bethlehem, in fact, literally translates to house of bread. Bethlehem is thus a reference to the constellation Virgo, a place in the sky, not on Earth. There's another very interesting phenomenon that occurs around December 25th, or the winter solstice. From the summer solstice to the winter solstice, the days become shorter and colder. And from the perspective of the northern hemisphere, the sun appears to move south and get smaller and more scarce. The shortening of the days and the expiration of the crops when approaching the winter solstice symbolize the process of death to the ancients. It was the death of the sun. And by December 22nd, the sun's demise was fully realized, for the sun, having moved south continually for 6 months, makes it to its lowest point in the sky. Here a curious thing occurs. The sun stops moving south, at least perceivably, for 3 days. And during this 3-day pause, the sun resides in the vicinity of the Southern Cross, or Crux, constellation. And after this time, on December 25th, the sun moves 1 degree, this time north, foreshadowing longer days, warmth, and spring. And thus it was said, the Son died on the cross, was dead for 3 days, only to be resurrected or born again. This is why Jesus and numerous other sun gods share the crucifixion, 3-day death, and resurrection concept. It is the sun's transition period before it shifts its direction back into the northern hemisphere, bringing spring and thus salvation. However, they did not celebrate the resurrection of the sun until the spring equinox, or Easter. This is because at the spring equinox the sun officially overpowers the evil darkness, as daytime thereafter becomes longer in duration than the night, and the revitalizing conditions of spring emerge. Now, probably the most obvious of all the astrological symbolism around Jesus regards the 12 disciples. They are simply the 12 constellations of the zodiac, which Jesus, being the sun, travels about with. In fact, the number 12 is replete throughout the Bible. Coming back to the cross of the zodiac, the figurative life of the sun, this was not just an artistic expression or tool to track the sun's movement. It was also a pagan spiritual symbol, the shorthand of which looked like this. This is why Jesus in early occult art is always shown with his head on the cross, for Jesus is the Son of God, the light of the world, the risen Savior, who will come again, as it does every morning, the glory of God, who defends against the works of darkness, as he is born again every morning, and can be seen coming in the clouds, up in heaven, with his crown of thorns or sun rays.
I just wanted to point out that these stories has multiple meanings. Like the story of Jesus, it's literally, it connects to everything, but you have to dig deeper than just the surface. The head is the heavens. The lower chakras are Sodom and Gomorrah. And they called like the solar plexus, they consider that to be Bethlehem too. But it's talking about us, guys. When they talk about Jesus Christ, they're literally talking about us and what we're capable of. All right, so 1 John 4:6 in the King James Version. We are of God. He that heareth God heareth us. He that is not of God heareth not us. Hereby know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. We all have the spirit of truth and the spirit of error within us. We just don't know how to listen to it. We're being programmed, our subconscious is being messed with on a daily basis. So they took this knowledge from us because knowledge is power. Psalms 82:6. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. So are you seeing where I'm getting here with this? We are gods. We may not be the God, the source, the force, but we are aspects and fragments of God. We were made in God's image, so that means we have God-like features, right? And so to me, in my opinion, the biggest feature that is having Christ within us. That Christos, that oil that's within us. The kingdom of God is in you. Christ is in you. 1 Corinthians 6:20. For ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. we just don't have the knowledge. We don't know what we're doing. We just don't know.
You're really a very powerful being, but you don't realize when you come to Earth, you forget all of that. And we have access to this part all the time, but we ignore it. One of the main lessons you come to Earth to learn is how to manipulate energy. Everything is energy. And you come to Earth to learn how to manipulate that, to be a master manifester. So once you learn how to manipulate energy, you can have anything you want. Nothing is impossible. They say there are no limitations except the limitations you put upon yourself. First, you have to know what you want. And a lot of people say, well, I need this, I want this. Those are the wrong words. In creating your reality, if you say, I need, I want, well, see, you're creating a lack. And you're putting it off by, I want it. No, the wording is, I have it. And you've got to believe it. And it's the law of the universe called the law of abundance, the law of attraction. You can have anything you want once you know what it is. You have to be able to visualize that goal too, what you really want, and be able to fill it full of a lot of details. This makes it become real. But once you put it out there, then people say, okay, now how am I going to do it? Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about, I have to do this and this and this to attain that goal. Because then you're limiting. It'll happen in ways you can't possibly imagine. Ways you would never ever think about. It just occurs. That's why we say we sit back and watch the magic. You realize the power of your own mind, too. I get so many clients who are into the victim mode. Woe is me, poor me, everything happens to me, everything is dumped on me. They don't realize they're doing it to themselves. But you have to have an idea of what it is you want before you can create it. You should know what it is you want, what you want to accomplish. The long-term goal and maybe the short-term goals along the way. Whatever it is, you visualize it and picture it. Because if you can see it in your mind as already done, already happened, it must occur. That's a law of the universe.
We learn also from the Holy Bible and other sacred scriptures that all humans are created by God in His likeness. The book of Psalms, chapter 82, verse 6, reads, "You are gods. You are all sons or children of the Most High." Since we are created in God's image, we are also endowed with godlike qualities. Indeed, our true self is that which represents heavenly nature. However, some of us tend to forget the inherent love, wisdom, and source of great blessings that we have during our sojourn here on earth.
Do you see a little bit how like these stories are telling you something deeper? It's like coded in the texts. Like, it's absolutely beautiful. And to me, the Bible was written in a certain way because it would either save you or it will slave you. It's a double-sided sword. And I was there, guys. I was there, and I'm telling you right now, when I considered myself to be a good Christian girl, all I needed was Jesus and ask for forgiveness, and you'll be saved. But I'm not even gonna lie. I was scared a lot. It was like I was literally praying every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes. I was like, Jesus, forgive my sins. Jesus, forgive my sins. Because I didn't want him to show up and me not be worthy enough and go to hell. It's like, now that I'm out of that soup, I could see, it was like, was I like in a messed up relationship? Okay, so I just wanted to clarify right now that there's a lot of teachings of Jesus that are very good for us. Forgiveness, kindness, love, turn the other cheek. These are all good teachings. But the Bible also uses fear to gain your belief, because belief is a very strong thing that we have, placebo effect. I just really wanted to clarify that the teachings of him is not evil. It's the other things in the Bible that can become very slaving. I hope this makes sense. But yeah, I just wanted to throw this in here too. And Jesus is also, he is like a symbol of the heart chakra. He tells you all the time, you cannot get to the heavens without me. So in every image of Jesus, you see the heart and you see the as above, so below symbol in his hand. You cannot rise that oil without getting past your heart. Your heart brings you back to center. I went through a grieving state. Like, I was sad. I was like borderline depressed. Like, who am I supposed to pray to now? Like, who's gonna save me? No, I had to realize I have to take responsibility. I gotta fix myself. I gotta make changes in my life to be a better version of myself. No one else is going to do it. You gotta do it yourself. You gotta take responsibility, and I get it. I get lazy. I get content. I get comfortable, and that's all part of life. It's realizing, okay, I need to do better here. This is my weakness. I need to work shit out with myself. Now look, we are not perfect. Why? And that's fine. Like, being perfect and knowing everything all the time gets boring, don't you think? Like, I'm gonna read off of my notes. Your spirit knows it is a being trying to learn itself. That's why we are not perfect. If we were perfect, how would your spirit understand itself? We need experiences to learn and gain perspective. Your spirit knows that in order to understand itself, it must become imperfect to fall. So you can consider us to be perfectly imperfect. Like, when you look at the picture of the pyramid with the white light going through and the 7 colors coming out, that's us basically. That's us, like, we chose to fall and to split into 7, our 7 chakras, so we can be seen, so we can learn and understand. In order for your individual fragment of consciousness to have a truly objective experience, you must first forget what you are and then assume a character to act out various objective and subjective experiences. Earth is essentially God's playing field. We are all fragments of God playing in the game of life, literally hide and seek with ourselves. That's why when you know thyself, what's that, where is it at? I'm gonna pull it up. I saw this post and I was just like, right on. This one. I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God. The purpose of this game of life is for us to begin this game by forgetting who and what we are, and then embarking on our own individual spiritual journeys to reconnect and remember who and what we are.
What is God? Everyone in the world and every religion in the world sees God in a different way. They all see it according to the way they've been taught, the way they believe. That doesn't mean there's any right, there isn't any wrong. It's just that our concept is so limited to what it really is. God is so huge, it is so big that there's no way we can define it, and there's no way we can enclose it in a box that we call religion. We call it the source. God is a name that we have put on it, but it all goes back to the source. The source is the beginning of everything. The first thing you have to get over is thinking that God is a man. We personify him. He is not. If anything, he would have been a woman, because woman is the feminine aspect, the creative aspect. But the truth is, it's not a physical, it is not a man or it is not a woman. It is a huge, powerful energy source that cannot be described. It is the embodiment of love. It is total love.
Now, these programs that I was talking about that we live in, the religious programs, educational programs, television programs, financial programs, cultural programs, health and diet programs, political programs, and on, these programs are like games to keep our minds distracted from figuring out the truth of who and what we are and why we are here. And that's why I feel like where I'm at, I'm starting to see things past the surface of what has been given to us. You can dig deeper, you can look deeper, ask questions, and then things will start to make more sense. And you're like, you know what? Like, and it's gonna feel like a remembering. It's gonna be like you hear something and be like, that makes sense. Like, duh. Like, I knew that, but I didn't know that. If that makes any sense. Once this awakening process begins, your journey of self-discovery begins. And it is our job to be responsible and take responsibility for ourselves. Nobody's going to fix us. Nobody's going to save us. The only person that you can rely on to do that is yourself. I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship where you're trying to change somebody. It's like, oh, I can change them. Like, no, you can barely, like, we have a hard enough time changing ourselves. Like, I smoke cigarettes. I want to quit. No one else is going to be able to do that for me but myself. I'm going through my path. Everyone has their own path, and we don't necessarily all have to agree. Everything is perspective and subjective to one. Look up Santos on YouTube. I will leave his channel somewhere on the screen in the description. There's this other person that talks about the brain, also about the same thing, about the oil, Christos, Christ within all of us. It's out there, guys. It's just because we have these cell phones and we can look up anything we want, information is not just going to come to us. We have to seek it. We have to search for it. And then you'll find it. So I really recommend binging his videos. And also, I really recommend everyone subscribing to Gaia. You see that? It's like super bright. Oh my god. But yeah, Gaia. I'm watching the season of Limitless. Amazing. There's, guys, the information is out there. You just gotta search for it. And you may not be ready, you know, it's fine. Like, if this resonates, I'm glad. Let's talk about it. If it doesn't, that's fine. Me, 5 years, been like, what is this talking about? I just want to share what I'm learning. I'm still figuring out a lot of things. And look, as you learn and grow, of course your mindset is going to change. But yeah, in one big old lump sum, we are the I am. You can walk around saying I am, because we are. But okay, I'm gonna leave it there, guys. I love you all. Be the best gods and goddesses you can be, because you are. We are. I am.